Hello.
Hello.
We are back with another reaction video. Today we delve into more 80s goth footage, this time checking out a short documentary about the new wave and goth scene in the UK, specifically in York in 1987. We still haven't been to York. It looks incredible, very spooky. I totally understand why goths would have congregated there. Hopefully we'll do a future vlog on it at some point on the channel. If you missed our last 80s goth reaction video on the Batcave in 1983, do check it out after this one. Now let's get into the video. I never had hair like this in my life and I really regret it because now I've like no hair, so I can't do it now. But like every time we watch these 80s goth videos, I'm like, oh, the hair is just incredible, and I'm just very jealous that I never got to have that. I never had the big poof.
I suppose the look is rooted in punk, though obviously it's now 8 years on from something like that, and the people photographed wouldn't probably consider themselves to be punk. But by that I mean that there's a lot of black and a lot of leather and hair spiked up, etc. But having said that, I think it is like a display, rather like peacocks. I suppose as you get older, you settle down and you don't really want to attract people to you in the same way you do when you're young.
Well, I have referred to, well, I usually say posturing as opposed to peacocking, but I disagree with the connotation that he's kind of put onto it, that it's like it's to attract people to you. It's more, at least for me, it's more of a relationship to myself. I want to be happy with how I look. Like, I want to like how I look. I don't really give a shit what other people think of how I look. It's more so about me being happy about it. It's also funny to hear them be like, oh, punk was 8 years ago. Like, even back in the 80s, they're like, that's old hat. That was the 70s.
They grew up.
Punk's dead. They were already saying it then.
Street style comes from the person themselves. They actually have to manipulate and create the look, simply because a lot of these clothes aren't actually available on the high street. If you're young and unemployed, then you can experiment more freely with yourself and your look.
I should have done bingo cards. For the next 80s goth reaction video, we will have bingo cards, and I'll post them on the YouTube community tab so that you can all play along at home. And right dead center, it's gonna say unemployed/doll, because it literally gets a mention every video. If you're young and you have no job, you can spend all day teasing your hair, but you can't do that when you're a productive member of society.
Definitely difficult.
And obviously, hair, clothes is the most intimate form of design there is, really, because although it's considered to be high art to create on a canvas, if you have no real interest in high art but have a natural talent for design, then you express it directly in your clothes.
See that little brush that they're using? Like, I remember getting them in play sets though, like play makeup, not like real makeup. And I think they actually did a great job, like pigment wise. Bring that back, but a bigger one.
I like the parallel they're drawing as well between like self-expression is art, even though a lot of people don't consider it to be art if it's not like on a canvas. There is an artistry to makeup and hair and
I
stuff.
don't think a lot of people realize that.
I mean, they're called makeup artists, so at least you got that. But I mean, in general, like how people choose to express themselves is art in its base form, not when I do it. This is art in the sense of like when your toddler has art class, but like for example the stuff that you do.
No,
like,
mine is that. Mine is me just having fun and literally doodling on my face. But like, I used to see makeup as like, makeup is there to make you look good. I always despised it. You know, my mom would be like, oh, do you want to wear like a little bit of makeup for this special occasion? As I got older, and I was like, no, I don't want blush, I don't want like bronzer. Like, I didn't want to look healthy, so I was completely against makeup. Hated it, didn't think I would ever wear it in my life. And then one day, I can't remember exactly what it was, it just clicked, and I was like, one, makeup can be used to look like a vampire was the main thing, but two, makeup can be put on you like you're drawing on a piece of paper kind of thing. And I feel like your makeup skills get so much better when you're actually enjoying it and you're just experimenting, and I feel like that just opens it up so much more. It's like a whole new world. It's not just like basic makeup.
I'll make a decision as to what type of club I want to photograph, and then I'll probably go down there a few times without my camera And if there are people there that I think would come across well, then I'll just make a mental note and just approach them and say I would like to take photographs.
God bless the people who actually did stuff like this. Like, I know a lot of the stuff we've watched have been like short TV segments and stuff, but they were all done kind of like later into things happening, whereas there were people who were like on the ground, living a part of the scene, and were like, I'm going to document our lives and like what we do. And it's such a great resource then to be able to look back and study youth culture from back then. Massive shout out to the people who carried cameras to nightclubs when it was awkward and would go up to people and be like, I need to photograph you, we need to get like videos and stuff. Like, it's just great to have that like time capsule to look back at.
What I'm after really is people who are following styles that fall outside mainstream fashion.
Well, not really that we're, anything completely different from anything that's happened already. But, we're nothing new.
What's going on?
Oh, I want to photograph you because I think you've got a really distinct look. And he's like, nah, I'm just nothing new. And then I'm just copying whatever I've seen other people do, so it's not that original. Weird note, but I mean, it was 87, so yeah, I suppose like new wave and like goth had been around for like a while. It's like if someone came up to me and was like, oh, I think your look is like really cool and interesting and different. And I'd be like, is it? You saw WWE, right? You remember Sting? When they do the what's in and what's out for the year, there's very few things I'd ever be like, oh, that's out, you know what I mean? But if there's one thing I'm absolutely delighted that you don't see as much anymore, it's the fact that in the 80s, if you watch back over any of our 80s goth videos, there were so many people wearing the dangly diamante earrings. It was a big new wave thing, I think. Like, you're wearing your grandmother's dangly diamante tussly earrings and stuff.
I like them. I think I could rock them.
I hate them so much.
They were in. I get it. I like
yeah,
them.
I fully get that they were like
bling,
in
bling.
at the time, yeah, but if there's one thing I'm glad that we like for the most part left in the 80s, it's that.
Oh, I used to love like a big diamond cross.
No, you do you, whatever, that's totally fine, like, but I personally just I can't, oh no,
I'm bringing it back now.
It makes me a bit ill.
What I've tried to do with these photographs is to actually literally focus on very specific areas. If on a shot you can't see the face, there's no distraction, straight away the personality is lost and you're left to dwell on the symbols which they're carrying around on them.
The birthday party and Einstürzende Neubauten, which I've probably butchered the pronunciation on, but I feel like there's a big genre mix in between those. I also love how they've only got like 3 things written on their jacket.
Yeah, it takes time, you have to build on as you go.
The way I'm looking at it is it's like they're like, oh, I'm just looking for more bands.
Maybe.
Just waiting, I'm going to fill it in later. Not really sure yet how I feel about 1 or 2 of the other bands.
Beautiful. I tend to take the photographs of the people away from the club because if you take them out of the club setting, 1, you change the lighting, and 2, the other thing is you take them out of context so that you highlight the things that you want to highlight, and you don't actually get distracted by the other things that are happening in the environment around you.
Question, right? You see what this person is wearing. Like, I know in the 80s, the majority of stuff was like DIY and things, but stuff like that, like leather wear things like that. Like, where were you getting that?
Like stores.
Yeah, mate.
It's always a thing. It's always been a thing. Wow.
I'd love if there was a documentary about that and the selection of wares that they had in the 80s and stuff.
Probably couldn't watch that here though.
I'm merely recording what I see around me, and it directly reflects, I think, perhaps what is happening, say, in York.
How do you do that though? Like other ones that I've seen, like in the last video where I'm like, oh yeah, you can see they like crimped all the underneath of their hair and then backcombed it so that you've got volume, and then they have the top layer over. But that, how do you do that?
People had more hair then.
Honestly, I feel like in the 80s people just had thicker hair. Like, you see that earring?
Just stop.
I hate that.
Okay.
There's something about that makes me feel ill. Maybe it's like childhood trauma from like my auntie or whatever.
Pinching your cheek.
Stunk of like cigarette smoke and alcohol, and would like pinch your cheeks and you just see them earrings dangling. Ah! I'm reliving it all.
That wasn't very informative, was it?
No, that's a short one for today, unfortunately. But it was cool to see the looks and stuff. You know, that was interesting, especially at the start. I feel like the people they were filming at the start were a little more on the goth side, whereas towards the end of it was heavily like new wave and like new romantic people and stuff. But that was still cool, and it's an interesting short piece about how this person kind of went to clubs and picked out people with different fashion styles that they thought were interesting, and then like photographed them just to document kind of what was happening at that time. And stuff like that is very, very important, I think.
Yeah, because we met a photographer that did this like a good few years ago. It was actually one of the first ever photo shoots that we've done. This person was just really interested in the goth subculture, in the people, and like just getting to know people and getting to know like what it was all about, getting to know you, but also taking the pictures. So it was kind of like same as what this person was saying, you know, asking questions first and trying to just get different angles and taking you out of the goth club and bringing you somewhere else and things like that. Like that was something that we have had before. But they're also interested in like punk and stuff like that, and it was something that was completely alien to them but that they wanted to know all about. So it was really cool, and it was great like for someone to document that. And some of the photos were used in like exhibitions and stuff showing like the goth subculture and things. Kind of similar, really cool.
Yeah, from an anthropological standpoint, it is really important to document particularly youth subcultures and what's going on at the time. I remember even when we were young, like I had a few kind of run-ins with people who were like trying to document stuff, kind of like photography things, and then just like report on what was going on in general. And it's important because it means later on down the line we can like look back at this kind of stuff and get an insight into what was going on politically and socially at the time, and how the average person was like reacting to that and expressing themselves. So a short little interesting piece, not overly informative but more artsy, more about the importance of art and self-expression and things like that, and some cool looks in there to boot. Apart from the diamante earrings, let's leave them in 1987, please. Thank you. So we hope that you enjoyed this video. Apologies that it was a shorter one than usual. If you want to see more 80s goth and alternative reaction videos, do let us know in the comment section down below. What other subcultures around the world could we take a deep dive into? As always, a massive shout out to our patrons. They help support this channel and help us keep creating videos. If you want to help support us here on the channel and get early access to videos and copyright free music behind the scenes and blooper reels, the link to our Patreon is in the description down below. If you like this video, be sure to leave a like. If you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing, as it helps us out a lot. And as always, until next time, see you in your nightmares.